Are you getting stuck discussing price in your sales conversations? Want to flip those into value conversations? Make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date when I release new videos. You can also click the bell button to be notified each and every time we release new content. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I have been selling and studying the habits of top performing sales professionals for nearly 20 years now. You've likely heard that selling based on value really comes down to looking at the difference between the benefits that your product or service offers and the cost associated with a buyer purchasing your product or service. That's true to an extent, but you have to look a little bit deeper than that. Selling based on value really comes down to focusing on 4 key areas. Area number 1, you want to be thinking about what are the benefits that my product or service can offer. Now here's the trick. It's not what you think the benefits are, it's what your buyer thinks the benefits are. So how do you figure this out? Well, you should be asking everybody you come in contact with, current customers, past customers, even prospects after you've explained your product or service, what do they see the benefits of your product or service being? As they mention those to you, you'll start to notice similarities amongst individuals. These become common benefits. And if you're serving different industries or sectors, you might find distinct benefits that are brought forward from individuals in these different sectors or industries. Those become benefits that you know are equated to those sectors or industries. So what you end up with really is a roadmap to what the benefits are, but not from your perspective, from the perspective of your customer. And after all, who better to tell you what the benefits are? After you understand the benefits from your buyer's perspective, the next thing you need to consider is urgency. Specifically, why is this person talking to you right now about your product or service? The way to get there, which is really the second point around selling based on value, is to ask direct questions. You need to probe. What I find with a lot of the sales teams that I work with and the individuals that I coach, they don't ask direct questions. They feel fortunate just to be sitting there talking to somebody rather than digging down to understand what's below the surface. So why is a prospect talking to you right now? What's driving this sense of urgency? What's really going on? If they say we have a problem, what's behind the problem? When you ask direct questions and you dig deep, you really understand what the sense of urgency is. And that sense of urgency will tell you how to position your benefits. So it really takes the benefits you already are aware of and understand, and it positions them in order of priority, right? The current state that your buyer is in, the reason they're talking to you, will determine which benefits do I lead with? Which benefits do I explain first? Hey, if you've mastered these skills in selling based on value, make sure you like this video or comment below with other strategies that you found are proven to help you sell based on value. The third strategy you want to consider if you're selling based on value is staying in the conversation. You know, sales really is about process, and we need to always remember where we're at in that process and what the next step we want to take is. However, too many sales individuals that I coach and work with get stuck in the process. They start thinking about what's next. What am I going to say next? They get worried that if they pause and actually have to think for a moment, that's a bad thing. It's not. Stay in the moment. Listen to what your prospect or buyer is telling you. When you ask those direct questions we talked about previously, you need to listen to the answer in order to prepare your response. So stay active, listen, and don't get stuck in your own head about what the next step might be. It will come to you, right? But you want to make sure you're paying attention, listening, because that's going to help you identify, again, what benefits to position and in what order that will in turn move your conversation about value forward. Okay, the fourth strategy to sell based on value is focusing on return on investment. A lot of buyers are really thinking through, obviously, the benefits that you shared with them, but what is the cost, the investment they're going to have to make to receive these benefits? What they're really trying to calculate is the return on their investment. You need to help them in that conversation. So what you want to do is make sure you're always talking about the return. So here's an example. Let's say you're selling something that's worth $1,000. And the customer or client or prospect that you're speaking to suggests that that $1,000 seems like a lot. They're not really sure if now's the right time. But if you've really asked direct questions, listen to what they're saying, then you've uncovered what their situation is, right? And you know which benefits to provide them. Then you're in a position to say, well, that $1,000 will be recouped in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years if it solves the problem we're speaking about, right? So you always want to be considering the investment that your buyer or prospect has to make versus the rewards, the outcome, the benefit they're going to achieve, and put those together and talk about return. You know, when I was young and I used to sell cars, I didn't say, well, this is a $30,000 car, or this is going to cost you $30,000. I'd say, well, you're currently driving a pickup truck. I'd assume that's probably $100 a week in gas. Back then it was $100 a week in gas. That was actually a lot when I was selling cars, right? And then I would say, okay, if that's $100 a week, this is going to be $50 a week for the same mileage. So you're saving $50 a week. That's $200 a month. And not only that, but this $200 a month you're saving in fuel, because you're going from a truck to a smaller car, your insurance is going to drop. I'd suggest you're almost going to pay for this car with the savings in fuel alone. The return on your investment, this car isn't going to cost you anything to drive. That's how you do it. But again, you have to use the previous 3 strategies I discussed to be able to speak about return on investment. It shifts the conversation away from the price and gets your prospect or buyer thinking about how quickly they're going to recoup their investment based on the benefits that you've shared with them. Selling based on value, like any other activity in sales, requires that you follow up. You can have an initial conversation, but there always needs to be a follow-up. If you'd like to grab a copy of our 18 follow-up scripts that convert, make sure you click the link below. It'll be sent right over to you immediately. Well, I wanted to share this with you because in my experience, it's one of the easiest and fastest ways to keep the conversation progressing towards the close. All right, make sure you click like on this video if you've enjoyed it, comment below if you have questions, and make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date each and every week when we release a new video. Now, if you've already mastered the ability, if you're already selling based on value, one of the things you'll want to work on is learning to sell your ideas. That's before there's even an investment involved. So make sure you check out this video here next to learn how to sell your ideas.